I know it's been a minute, but we're here. We're back. It's been a long summer. We've been really busy. We are talking about who knows what. I have a list of things that I wanted to get to, but I think a lot of the things that have been happening so fast that I wish
things are happening really fast.
I wish that I was able to like talk about it in real time, but we've been trying to upgrade our setup so that I could talk to you in real time, because now we're dual city.
Yeah.
So it's just been it's been difficult. But thank you for bearing with us. We're still out here. We're still doing stuff. We're still trying to branch out. We're still, doing a lot. I'm overextended. The summer's hot. Houston is hot, bro.
This summer, this heat.
Houston had a hurricane.
She was wild.
It was crazy. I wish that I know tornado. I wish that I was here. I could have recorded talking about how Center Point is whack.
Center Point.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just do this after the fact. I know this is way after hurricane, but Center Point Energy, you whack. This is why monopolies are not supposed to be a thing. Texas, get your ass into the national grid, my G, my boy, because that ain't it. We're done with it. Okay. I wasn't here for the hurricane, but y'all were here for the hurricane. I missed it. I saw Houston wilding. I saw Houston tripping. I saw people on the floats, right on the feeder of 59, on the floats. I saw people waterboarding with their lifted trucks, and somebody holding on to the thing. Not waterboard. That's not the right thing. What is it? Wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding.
Waterboarding is something different.
Waterboarding is totally different.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I wouldn't put it past the Houstonian though. So. Y'all just having fun, bro. Even in the midst of tragedy, Houston be having fun, and I like that. I miss that. Austin's not like that.
We talked about this. We were actually talking about this.
Who?
You and I about Austin and Houston, because I want to move to Austin, to like the outer, because the thing is, there is outer skirts of Austin that have like space.
Water?
No.
Oh, space.
Like they still have space.
Yeah.
Versus you can't get anywhere outside of the like Houston metropolitan area until you're out like 2 hours away from Houston.
It's crazy.
Like because the greater Houston area or whatever is now Houston, Katy, Pearland, Pasadena, Spring, all those other like that is all part of Houston. Like technically, it's all part of like the Houston metropolitan area, which is
whack.
Just people who just like come in and out. You can't get a decent piece of land out here. I'm trying to have a goat. I'm trying to have a cow.
How you gonna take care of a goat and a cow?
I don't know, but I want one.
Austin land is expensive.
Well, not in Austin, just slightly outside Austin.
It's still expensive out there.
I saw like 5 acres for $100,000. By some river. Whether you're not gonna get me.
Some charquito somewhere.
No, it's a river,
bro. Hey, but here's okay. I'm gonna have this preliminary conversation because it's early. I'm gonna admit it's early for me to have to talk about this. Not I don't mean early like in the day, but like early in my tenure in Austin, Texas. But you're giving up. You're giving up a lot. Ooh. You are giving up a lot as a Houstonian. I'm going to just be real with you. You are giving up a lot moving to Austin, Texas. The first and foremost, the thing that comes to mind immediately is the food. The food in Austin is decent, but it is not the same.
I was this close to hearing. I really thought you were going to say it was whack.
It's not. It's okay. It's not like you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is the worst thing that I've ever had in my entire life. But it's also, if you're used to Houston food and you're used to the diversity of Houston and the quality, then you're gonna get there and be like, it's just not hitting the same.
So do you think okay? So are we talking like Southern food, or are we talking like Mexican food?
All of the above.
All of it.
All of the above.
I mean, because Austin is farther out where people from Mexico would don't necessarily want to not that they don't go live there, but
I mean Chicago got good Mexican food.
I don't know. They go Like they just, if it's gonna be between Austin and Houston, they rather just stop in Houston and campground there. And then like Louisiana is like technically relatively close to Houston, so the Louisianans bringing in all the southern food, all the Cajun food. They don't reach all the way to Austin like that. I feel.
I
mean, my logic is what I'm thinking.
I go back and forth. I just haven't found it. Even with the American food, like there's some great spots out there. The barbecue is really good.
I've heard.
The barbecue is phenomenal, but I haven't found something so far that's been like hitting to the point where I'm like,
and you don't think,
this is the spot. Whereas like in Houston, like every neighborhood's got the spot. Every place has got the authentic spot that you're like, this is why we come here.
Do you think that the fact that Austin is smaller and you have to deal with, like, for instance, I'm assuming, I've heard, less traffic than Houston.
No, it's just as much because
as bad.
It's just as bad. The traffic's just as bad because, people are moving there's a lot more people in Austin now, and Austin is built like a small town.
Austin built stupid.
But it's because they didn't anticipate.
Stupid.
They didn't anticipate it.
And that's not me saying that Houston isn't built stupid. Houston is built even stupider. Pero Austin is built stupid. It's like a hot dog. What you gonna do with the hot dog space? Now, you know what I mean?
No.
Está largo.
Because of the river?
I don't know about no river. I'm just talking about how
the river that flows right in between Austin.
Well, the same way the bayous be flowing through Houston, but like what I'm saying is like,
but it's a whole river.
If you look at the highways, they shaped long like a little rectangle, like a hot dog. You're not with me?
I'm not with you.
It's built stupid is all I'm trying to say.
I agree with you, but it's built stupid for me in the sense that it's built stupid. Listen to me. It's built stupid for me because on one end it's built like a small town, and then they want to make it the fucking Palo Alto and Silicon Valley of Texas, so everybody moving to Austin, and there's not enough room.
Mira, ves como it goes this
oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Versus Houston is a square.
It's a circle,
it's a circle. It's a circle and a circle. This ain't no circle. This ain't nothing stupid. It's long.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with a long city?
I mean, there's not a lot you could do.
That's what I'm saying. But Houston is built just
Austin,
as dumb.
Austin has better outdoor activities.
I was about to say Austin has better visualization is what I was trying to say. You can visuals. They're pretty. It's actually
Austin's very pretty.
Austin, like you go and you see the hills and you're like, oh damn, this shit nice. Houston don't got that.
I done factory resetted myself like 4 times. Just driving home, like, man, this is decompression. Like I was, at one point I went and took 30 minutes out of my day, put my foot in the lake, put my feet in the lake, fucking started swimming in the lake. And I'm just like, bro, what? I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not putting my foot in no bayou.
In the bayou?
No. Buffalo? Okay. Buffalo Bayou?
Get you on that flesh-eating disease.
Yeah, well, for real? I'm not getting that. Está todo sucio and shit. Like, right next to UHD? I'm not doing that.
Dog,
I'm not doing that. So...
I mean, that's part of the reason why I like the idea of moving to Austin is just for the visuals, and I want to get there before it becomes what Houston has become. And
what has Houston become? Talk to me about what Houston become.
Houston has become like the suburbs are now just as. You want mine?
Is there more?
Yes, pero agarra este.
Houston has become what?
Another one so I can eat my second one on the second chat.
Houston.
I'll have to get another one after.
Houston has done what?
Damn, and you got a good one. Tiene chingo de chilito.
She got jealous.
Yes, these are my favorite. Ew, that's disgusting. You're so gross. Mira, okay. So like the suburbs. The suburbs.
Okay, explain to me.
The suburbs are like just as big as Houston now. In the sense that they have like enough people in that hole for it to not be like distance no more. They no distance from nobody. All the houses look the same. All these little.
That's the whack part about it.
That's what I'm saying. Y luego Houston now is becoming all these HOAs are fucking and like
popping
big ass
everywhere.
popping
I still
up
don't
everywhere.
have an HOA in my house over here.
Thank fucking God, dog. Because they're horrible. No te dejan hacer ni madres. And then
no individuality.
Not a
Yo, let's talk about HOAs. Are you for or against HOA?
Okay, so see, I just recently had a conversation with somebody who works for a property management company in the HOA department.
And what did they say? They fucks with the HOA?
And they said they kind of don't, but they
don't?
work for it. Yeah. So I was all like, well, what
Don't
is
say
an
their name. Don't out them. Don't get them fired.
So I was all like, what is it that y'all do? Like, what is an HOA? I've never had one. I never understood it too much. And they were like,
we from the ghetto. We don't have
we don't got no
HOAs.
HOAs.
The HOA is the gang outside.
Yeah.
Pay your fees.
It's the crack house down the street. That's
pay your fees.
Pay your fees. Yeah.
Never mind. We're not gonna talk about that.
Let's not do that.
That's some old school shit.
Yeah. But so they're talking about how like HOAs are very big on like protecting your property from devaluing itself.
Sure.
Which I never even that didn't cross my mind. I was like, nah, they just assholes.
I don't know what that means.
That just means that like
my instinct when I see that a HOA's mission statement is to not devalue the properties, and all that tells me is that you probably are not going to accept my money because I'm brown.
Wait, what?
That's my instinct. I'm sorry I made it a little racial.
Yeah, you did.
But like my instinct is that if you have a HOA and your mission statement is like, we're here to make sure that your property value doesn't go down, then that means that like you're going to look at me as an applicant and you're going to be like, you Mexican
property
as fuck.
value down.
You know what I mean? And then you're going to deny me.
Well, no, that's not really what that means. Because there's a lot of Hispanics in HOAs that live in like the suburbs and stuff like that.
Oh, but you don't need an HOA in the suburb.
I know.
Your property ain't gonna go up or down mucho. You know what I mean? Like it ain't gonna go up or down that much, bro. Like you in the suburbs.
The way it works is that they don't let you do like deface your property. Yeah. They also don't
deface.
By deface, doing what mom and dad do, which is leave shit all over the front of the house. That's what they mean. And so it's like, because if a potential buyer is trying to buy your home, but your next door neighbor and your other next door neighbor got all these like shit everywhere, the HOA is like they're
less likely to buy. They're
less likely to buy your home because they'll be like, I'm not gonna buy your home when it's all got all this.
But then shit. They get like crazy stupid because.
But then they get stupid, but yeah, they do. Because
you seen those videos of the ring door cams when where like some dude will be like, I'm part of the HOA department, and
I saw
that car that's outside has been parked there for more than 3 days, and that's a clear violation. And then they'll show up again with the lawyer. I'm like, bro, don't show up to my house when the lawyer talking about where I can and can't park my car. That's a problem. You know. I look at those videos and I'm like, bro, what? The way that I'd be like, I'm about to show up to your house with no lawyer. I'm about to show up with my family. Like
my biggest thing.
You said, well, we could do what?
I don't know what. I mean, I'm sure there are more benefits to HOAs.
All right, let me put my corporate hat on.
But I don't like it. Get the fuck away from my house, dog. Like, don't leave me alone. Like, let me have my house and do. But that's part of the reason why I'm trying to move somewhere where I got lots of space.
All right, let me get my corporate hat on. Presumably, if I had to think like a corporate company, or if I had to think like a mortgage company or a mortgage lender,
property management,
lo que sea, whatever this is. Presumably, you would like the HOA because it creates uniformity for the neighborhood, and it can also create a sense of representation for the neighborhood, so that if the neighborhood keeps a baseline property value, then you are guaranteed to not lose money on your property, and you are also guaranteed to know that the people around you are also running through the same rules and incentives to make sure that the neighborhood value goes up. If the neighborhood value goes up, then that means more funding for your local school that is on there, to your local high school that is on there, better money for roads and sidewalks, better money for like public the median trees and the public funding that goes into that. That means that the Kroger that's down the street is gonna probably talk to corporate headquarters and say, hey, this place is looking nice and your Kroger look dusty, so they're gonna get the 2-story Kroger, the HEB with the first floor parking lot instead of like all the parking lots outside, right? Like the one in Midtown or in the Heights, right? Like so. That's what I presumably I would say that it probably starts with some sort of some form of HOA, right? However, let me take my corporate hat off and let me get my landowner hat on. I thought this was Texas. I thought I could do whatever I want with my land. What the problem is? You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to say it just off the top. I'm a liberal in Texas, in a predominantly liberal cities where I have 2 properties, right? So it's not like I have to deal with this specifically. But like, as much as annoying as it is for the Trumper to have his fucking giant Trumps all on their lawn, fucking waving it around and shit, as annoying as that is, I kind of want them to be able to do that.
Well, in my head,
you know?
First things first, let me ask you one question.
Okay.
You think River Oaks got an HOA?
Hell yeah.
They got a good HOA, you think?
I'm sure they have the HOA.
Like, just random question.
River Oaks got their own police department.
They got their own police department.
Yeah. It would be like Second Ward Police Department, but River Oaks. River Oaks got a country club inside River Oaks that only people from River Oaks can be a part of.
Weird. I mean, I guess
in
I
River
don't
Oaks.
Oaks.
It's in the Heights.
Shows up in Memorial.
No. River Oaks is this tiny little section. The part of the bayou runs through it.
Yeah.
River Oaks got a country club that only people from River Oaks can be a part of, or you can't even show it up. You can't even knock on the door.
You don't even know where it's at.
And you don't even know. I mean, you kind of know where it's at, but like it's there. And then so River Oaks got that, and then on top of that, they have their own police department.
That's awesome shit.
That's crazy.
Mira los riquitos.
For real, George W. HW out here. So they got their own. They got everything, but to tell themselves. I had a client that was building a house in River Oaks, so I went and I parked for too long.
Like me little meerkats.
Yeah, they just pop up like. Perdón, I'm here. I gotta do this job. My bad, blah blah blah. Then I had another friend whose parents lived in River Oaks, and they were throwing like a party or whatever. And before the party, the people had to tell all their neighbors that they're having a party so that they don't get the police on them, because there was gonna be cars parked on the street. I'll talk about it later.
Okay, y luego tú.
River Oaks 100% has a HOA.
That's cool.
The HOA is the police. But like also the HOA.
But I feel like the HOA there like doesn't have the kind of rules that they have, because them motherfuckers build the houses.
100% they have the rules because.
But they build the houses however they want. There is no like specific facade that they have to keep up.
No. So like in the suburbs, the HOA is uniformity probably. The HOA is like tu casa has to look like my casa.
But they got enough money out there to be like, nah, G, we're not finna say that.
The HOAs in like super rich neighborhoods like the Heights or like in River Oaks, Memorial. You can have like a traditionally like Spanish colonial home, or you can have like a modern home, or you can have this and that. But like your grass gotta be cut. But like your you know what I mean? You gotta tend to your acre. You gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta have certain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's part of the value also, because like if you walking down River Oaks and you're seeing all these,
you could comfortably walk and
all your senators' houses
Oaks.
and stuff. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you see a house that's dusty with the grass all the way hasta acá. Like you're gonna look at that and be like, who lives there?
Yeah.
And it's gonna make everybody else be like, bro, what? Who's the
owner of this place?
Yeah.
Somebody gonna clean this up.
But like, I don't care. I want people to be able to do whatever they want with their land.
I think, and I think, like you said, we live in Texas. So, as a Texan, in my head, I'm a very moderate Texan. Like I'm very much.
You're probably center of the road.
Very center of the road.
I would say socially you're more liberal though.
Socially, I'm more liberal, but there are a lot of like or not a lot, but there are some conservative values that I'm like, I fuck with that. Like I fuck with it. I'm not gonna tell y'all what they are, but I fuck with them.
Come at me.
Sí,
Latinos are low key conservatives for sure.
More, I mean, low key they do. Like it's not, we are grounded in a highly Catholic, conservative countries, all of them, every single one of them. But and they'll do it. Pero whatever. On that note, I agree with you. I feel like I feel like it's stupid. Like, why we should be able to just
I'm gonna tell you why
do what you gotta do in your house, and that's fine, even if that means that you gotta have a little trompito flag outside. Like, okay, go ahead, go off. Like, I mean, you ain't finna bother me, and I'm not finna bother you, so it's all right.
I'm gonna tell you why I think it's unfair. Because we pay taxes.
That's
If you're already taxing my land, and I have to pay X amount of taxes a year, as property tax, and then you're gonna tell me what I can and can't do on my land? Bruh. The libertarian in me is like, where's my gun? You know what I mean?
Yes.
The libertarian in me is like, how? You're already taxing it. I'm already paying you.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I've got a house here in Houston, and I'm about to. Well, if I buy something in Austin, it's probably gonna be like a condo. It's probably not gonna be a house first. But regardless, like, I'm paying top quality, big city dollar.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna sit here and tell me I can and can't do this? Luckily for me, the house that I have here in Houston does not have an HOA. But
Can it get an HOA?
I don't know.
Can you get an HOA after it's already been like?
I think like a member of the community has to be in charge of it.
I'm gonna walk up to that member's house and be like, "You better shut up.
You better be careful.
You better shut the fuck
You better
up.
be careful. If you smell tortillas, mind your business.
Cállese. No diga nada.
If we put up an elote stand right outside the house, then mind your business. This is capitalism. This is free market capitalism at work. This is what keeps the rotation of the cash flow going in this neighborhood. You better mind your business.
You better support local businesses.
You better not kick out the chicharron man that's on the bicycle outside. You better not kick out. You know what I mean?
Yo, they so modern now. They got little golf
elote man?
carts. Yeah, they got little golf carts. I be seeing them just, man. But them OG ones, them older ones,
The OG ones.
they still.
Don't be kicking them out. HOAs, don't be kicking them out. Those are entrepreneurs. They're the OG entrepreneurs. That's where we get our life and soul from. It's that granddad that gets up every morning, restocks his little small business on wheels, does R&D, buys the chicharrones, buys the paletas wholesale, keeps that shit cold for you, rides around the neighborhood,
Cuts up your fruit.
Bro, shout out to the eloteros and the paleteros in the hood, bro. That's man, I miss y'all. That's what we need.
I saw people, they contratan a los eloteros for like birthday parties.
That's fire.
And they just like, they're like, I'll pay you for whatever we're using. I'll pay you for the whole day. ¿Cuánto te pago para todo el día?
That's fire.
And they'll be like, oh, just give me this much. And they earn more than what they would sell the thing for.
Yeah, because they
like,
actually get rid of their inventory.
yeah, but they get rid of everything. And they're like, yeah, no, vámonos, échale. Y que todos agarren. They're like, oh, yeah, 500 even or whatever. That's a lot to earn in a day.
For 100%.
For 2 hours. Or 3 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Fuck it up.
I would do that.
I'm about to become a paletero man for my...
New special events paletero man.
Just me in Lakeway. in Austin, in Bee Cave. Just with the... Ya van chicharrones? Hey, it's late. You had a long day, sir. You want a raspa? Sir?
Sir?
You want a raspa?
My man tells me that sometimes I
¿Tamarindo?
say... Tamarindo.
You don't know what tamarindo is? Jamaica?
Jamaica.
You don't know?
Quiero una agüita.
We call it Jamaica. You call it hibiscus, but it tastes different.
It does taste
It's technically the same, but the moment I call it Jamaica, it tastes different.
It tastes different. No, but they don't make it the way we do.
If you ask for hibiscus juice or lemonade or whatever, I taste it. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what fruit you got this from. But you give me, but you give me Jamaica water, and I'm like, this shit slaps. What it is? What is it? It's the same plant.
Yes.
And it tastes better whenever we call it Jamaica. Is what I'm assuming. Because if you're saying it's the same thing.
I don't know what we do
it wrong.
or how we do it. Pero, damn, my train of thought lost. What was I going to say to you? My man says that I be saying some words, like, I guess certain words that whenever I'm talking or whatever, in that little Spanish accent that you just did.
Oh, you're like,
My little Hispanic.
you're like,
You're like these. Yeah.
You're a fucking your Spanglish accent comes out.
Yeah. And I'll be like, damn, like I don't even notice that
your
shit.
Your Nosabo kid accent comes out.
Yes. I mean, clearly you have that
Uh-huh.
because you just did it. But do you ever notice?
It's called code switch.
It's called code switch.
Psychologically speaking, it's called.
I code switch a lot.
Hell yeah.
I code switch a lot.
I code switch all the time. I was on a phone call yesterday. You would have sworn I fucking ran the government.
You had your white boy voice on?
You would have sworn I ran some sort of department of.
You had your customer service voice on?
Nah, it's more than customer service.
Oh.
It's more. It's like customer service is like, we're here to help you. Now I guided you. This is where we're gonna end up. You bought what I was selling.
I don't even know.
It's different.
I don't think I
There's
have
levels.
that voice. I don't think I've unlocked that voice yet.
Nah, I got mine. I got a lot of code switches. If I'm in the hood, with like the homies, that's the best one.
That code switch goes hard. Let me just say, because I have noticed that when I'm around like my little ghetto friends, my little ratchet friends, it's so much better. You just get to talk so much better. You get to enjoy yourself so much better because
you get to call people out.
Zero inhibition.
There's something about being able to call people out.
Yeah.
In an open space, in a
safe space.
in a safe space.
Yeah.
Man, it's healthy.
It is healthy.
It's healthy. My friends, all we do is make fun of each other. That's all we do. I love it.
I can't do that with my friends.
Yeah, I heard you lost a white friend.
Yeah.
You done went on a whole road trip with her, and then by the end of the road trip, she said, "No more friends." Some friends gotta stay at a distance.
You're right, though.
You know what I mean?
Oh, something about friendship I've learned recently, or I guess not recently, but throughout the last couple of years, is that some of them you gotta keep at an arm's length. That don't mean that
you don't love them.
You don't love them or you don't like them.
But they wild out.
But they just a little too wild for your taste.
Sometimes they wild out. And if you don't have a friend that wilds out, you the one that wilds out. Reality check. For all of you people out there. For all of you guys. If you don't have a friend that wilds out and you're like, maybe I got to distance myself from this friend.
What if I got
then
friends?
You are that friend.
See, I think I'm the problem though, because the reason why
you don't wild out like that.
Well, no, I don't wild out, but I have a lot of friends that do, so I feel like I'm attracting the wild and out ones, and I don't know how I'm doing this.
They take advantage of
Maybe
you.
You think they're taking advantage of me?
Don't act surprised.
But what do I do? What is
You have a calm spirit.
Do I?
You're a nurturing soul.
I do have that.
And they feel
What
like
the fuck could you do?
I was like, bitch, where?
Shut the fuck up. I literally take care of your ass all the time. Mr. Do I have to put my social security number down where it says social security?
Hey, don't be putting up people's social security number on camera.
No, he asked me those questions. I could pull it up on my phone.
Unless it's a government entity, don't put your social security in there. Unless it's the government
It's
entity.
for a credit card.
Oh, okay.
But he just didn't know. He was like, hey.
What do you mean? Who are you? Let me see your social security. Hey, pig for pig. Remember MySpace?
Yeah.
Bro, let's talk about that. Hey, give me some water real quick. Some water, yeah. Remember MySpace? Yo, shout out to the OG social media. I saw a post the other day go around like, shout out to MySpace because no influencers, no money, no clout chasing.
Shit was fucking
just the wild west of social media.
It was the wild west.
Every single day it was like,
what song are you gonna put down there?
What song you were listening to? What song you were vibing with? If your friend acted up that day, you're not my top 4 no more.
Bump it down.
If you're not even on the list, you was gonna get talked about at school the next day. Hey, did you see why Marcela took down Ofelia from her
not Ofelia
from her top 8? What'd she do? She was number 1 yesterday. She not number 1 today.
She's not number no.
What'd she
more.
do? Man, I heard she got her in trouble with Miss whatever.
She was wild.
And then it was just the Wild West. And then we were, bro, all of a sudden we were all HTML experts.
Hell yeah. That shit was dope.
I could code back in the day.
That shit was dope, dog.
I could code. I'd be like, yo, what's the HTML slash blah 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 right here? See, here's how you can get a top 1. Here's how you get no friends to show up on your profile.
Yeah.
Here's where you can get a picture of like blah blah blah, like to float through the
Yes.
through your profile.
So you know what I had? Because I've recently a lot of people brought up or have brought up like emo phases and shit like that. I had one on MySpace very specifically, and I also had one of those little tiny little ratchet faces where it was like everything was. It was. I could pull up the pictures, and I don't know how to describe this, but they're weird. Like it was just weird. It was very circa like 2010. And I think you can imagine how that might have looked like.
2010 was like
2009. Like there was like little hearts that had like little like shadow of like a color or something, and like the inside estaba huequito, and then the outside had low color, and then that's the kind of like spray painted or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I remember that, and I remember like putting up on my MySpace all these like neon colors with like kind of ghetto looking things, and it was just weird. It was weird.
MySpace was the birth of the selfie. Hey, pick for pick. If you comment on mine, I'll comment on yours. Remember?
I also remember the
shout outs. You could put a shout out on your profile.
My favorite feature was always the song though, because I would always be like, I'm that bitch, I got a new song. Like
and it's not even that. It's that whenever people visited your profile,
it starts
they got blessed with the vibe that you wanted them to have when visiting your profile. So you got to cater.
I wish Instagram could do that right now. So
you got to cater to like what's the vibe? Like whenever people think about me, I want them to start like feeling the vibe, right? Or I want people to think. I want people to come to me today and hear Megadeth. And you know, Black Sabbath and shit. Like, be like, man, this bitch was mad today. What happened to her today? And it was like a very good, like a temperature check. It was just a temperature check. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know where she's at. But I know something happened today, or I know she's feeling herself today.
Yeah. I liked it. Instagram should have that. That would be dope. I'd support that. I'd stand that.
There's some things that happened that were not good. That was also the birth of the dual profile, the relationship profile.
That shit was weird.
That's corny, dude. That shit is still corny. If you have a Facebook, if you currently have a Facebook right now for your relationship, you're the problem. You're the problem. That's tacky. Who am I responding to? Which one of you am I responding to whenever I want to talk shit? Is it who? Y'all are not. Every time I read a comment from a joint profile, I assume that you guys are saying the same thing at the same time.
That's weird. Like
echo, like you guys are harmonizing.
That's weird. Folks do that on
I hate
Facebook.
that.
Folks,
it's corny.
I think Facebook became the like.
And you know what it is? The joint profile is just one of the halves of the joint profile is so insecure that you need to figure out a way to stop your man's or your girl from cheating. So you gotta have the joint profile. So if anybody tries to holler at your significant other,
it's on there.
It's gonna come through you first.
See, that's stupid. And you know what?
That's toxic.
I had a situation because me and my man's are pretty private on our
Hold up,
before you go
there, let's bring it back. Joint profile pictures. Chancla or salsa? Chancla all day. MySpace. Salsa for sure.
Salsa. I don't care what about the weird shit that we used to do on that hoe. It was cool.
Yeah. Paleteros and elotero mans. The original entrepreneurs. Salsa all day, bro.
Salsa de la que me ponen en el...
Con chamoy.
Con chamoy.
Con tajín.
But it's the one that they put on your fruit that's not chamoy, but it also is like spicy as fuck, and it's water. It's salt. It's like limey.
With tajín.
Con tajín.
And the limon. Salt Bay. Tajín Bay.
That's the salsa.
Tajín Bay.
That's the salsa we talking about.
On a summer day, with Rob's Summer Nights playing in the back. Doing all right.
Yes,
the sun goes down.
Yes.
We be ready to party.
Shit, yeah. After like
nothing about them summer nights.
After a day at the fucking community swimming pool over there at Mason.
Yeah.
I
You wore your
remember-
flannel shirt with your do-rag and your Converse with your high socks, and you're just like, you're not like us. You're not like us. You know? Before not like us. Hey, Latinos been on LA
Chicano
dance
style,
Chicano culture for a minute. And, you know, not like us, the beginning of the summer, not like us, had me bopping, bro.
Everybody.
I was driving. I was on North Austin driving to wherever I needed to be, next to all these bougie neighborhoods, like
I was gonna say in some little bougie ass place.
crib walking in my car.
I
And I know how to crib walk too, so I was getting it in the car.
want to learn how to crip walk. I don't know how to do that.
Man, I was getting it, bro. Right next to all them Randalls. They don't have Kroger's over there. It's the same company. They have Randalls. Randalls is like the bougie one.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
Kroger
don't
is like the redheaded stepchild for that company, and Randall is like that's the dude they put in the front of the store. Randall gets Employee of the Month every month.
Randall sounds like the
It's
name.
the same store. They sell essentially
Randall
the same
sounds
things.
like the name of the guy that's trying to kiss ass in an Adam Sandler movie.
Randall.
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 Randall. There you go. And
Well, Kendrick had me bopping, bro.
it's a great song.
Wop, 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 wop.
It's
That
a great
fucking move.
song.
Like when I'm trying to hype myself up to do something. Like if I'm like, should I buy a Red Bull today? And then I'm like, nah, you already had. You shouldn't really buy another one. And then I hear myself in my head and I'm like, wow, that fucking move. And then I just go buy one anyway.
That was it anyways. You tired?
Yo, that was crazy, bro. That was crazy. I heard LA was bopping.
I bet.
Kendrick had me bopping, bro. I wish I was in LA when that Pop-Out concert happened.
Oh yeah.
I was watching it live on the stream.
That shit was dope.
Oh, that's so amazing. I bet you the vibe in LA was crazy. And I don't like LA like that. But
I got a question.
it would've been great.
Because you're somebody who follows hip hop a lot. I don't follow hip hop like that, but
Yeah.
I kind of keep up with it a tiny bit.
yeah.
Would you think that the cultural significance that he had on the black community is equivalent? Kendrick, that with this song, with this one particular situation and this particular beef situation, is it better, or was it more culturally significant than when Kanye was doing his whole shit with his album and stuff like that? Because he had a moment like this where he had like a pop-up, or like went to that, had a little like concert and had like an album listening party, and people was like, oh yeah, and people was all about Kanye for a minute, and then like, you know, he died down, and then now that they was all about Kendrick for a minute with that specific situation that was happening, and they were like, oh my god, what's Kendrick gonna do now, what's he gonna drop now,
I don't know.
like, because to me, I've purely looked at it and on the like cultural standpoint of like who was more culturally significant, and I don't know, because I don't listen to their stuff like that, so I don't even know exactly how.
Okay, I don't know. If I had to make the analysis of Kendrick, I think Kendrick is more important to black culture than Kanye now is. Maybe at some point Kanye was probably at the top of there, but I think Kanye really destroyed his reputation and his standing. Not on a musical level. People still ride or die for Kanye on the musical front, right? Like, the stands are crazy. They're so annoying, right?
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was bad.
Well, yeah, there's a
And
lot
it
of like
wasn't.
sheep.
It wasn't. Vultures 1 wasn't it either. It was horrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of sheep that are just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's stands for sure. There's people that want to be Kanye, but then I think Kendrick has done a good job of talking about of having the ability of giving you something like a Not Like Us, like an anthem,
Yeah.
and also be able to give you a really deep insight into the psyche of the black man.
Yeah, like Money Trees is that.
Money
Like,
Trees,
I
Dying
did-
of Thirst. Sing About Me, Dying of Thirst.
I did a literary analysis on Money Trees in high school. My teacher was like, "What?" And I was like, "Let me learn you something about Black culture, since we all Hispanics and you white and you don't want to talk about it."
But I relate to that.
But and you think about, and like you listen to Money
some
Trees
life
and you're
lessons
like,
in Money Trees.
"Damn, exactly."
There's some life lessons in Money Trees,
Oh yeah.
especially J Rock's verse.
The reason I asked that is because to me,
Even the chorus.
to me, Kendrick Lamar has always been a more culturally significant rapper. And between all of the rappers that are like mainstream or that are a lot bigger in the hip hop community, I would argue that none have. Maybe J. Cole has a little, and obviously I think like the OGs did too, like back in the day, like the Notorious Tupac and you know, Jay-Z, whatever. But I feel as though nobody did it with the literary complexity that he did. Like he made things like he not only did he, because I analyzed some of his shit in classes, that he not only made like the lyrics be relative and significant, but he, like, poetically speaking, he actually wrote down like legit sonnets and shit in his songs. Like,
Nas did that.
and Nas has done that too. And I think that's like for the more culturally significant rappers now of our generation, I feel like he's done that the most.
Yeah, he's the one for sure.
Yeah, because
I mean,
I know
I think
J. Cole has talked a lot about the cultural significance of being a black man in America, but I feel like
he's dabbled on it, but I don't think it's been as
effective. Yeah.
I've said this before. I like J. Cole. Like, I will listen to J. Cole more. I think I enjoy J. Cole's music more. And then his run as a lyricist right now has been unstoppable.
Yeah,
but
that too.
I think Kendrick Lamar is more important. I think Kendrick Lamar's music is very important for music. Especially because he carries it past his lyrical ability, right? Like, To Pimp a Butterfly mixes a lot of jazz fusion. He tugs at the historical thread of black musicians, the Prince. He tugs at the musicology aspect of it.
Yeah.
He brings in artists that are coming from the tradition of jazz music, of a Miles Davis, Coltrane. You know, he's got Kamasi Washington all over his songs. Terrence Martin. He's much more in tune with the frequency of his past.
Yeah.
And his historical past. And his lineage, his historical lineage, his musical lineage. And I think that he does a very good job of bringing everything together and making really powerful statements about who he is and his vulnerability.
And I think he has a really great way of making it relevant for the audience to like want to listen to, like, because there's you can be poetic and deep and everything you want on your shit, and people not like your music still, and they can be like, "Well, it's good," but like I don't like it. Yeah, like
I like Wale, but like people historically, he's been one of the rappers that he complains a lot about how much people don't like him, and he's incredibly poetic.
Yeah. And like there is a level of too deep that can happen in music where your music gets lost in the depth of
what you're trying to say.
Of what your meanings are. But I think Kendrick does a really good job at like keeping it catchy, keeping it relevant, and keeping it deep. Like he has that balancing act really well. Like, one of my favorite songs of his is Humble. And it's like a super catchy. It's super catchy. It's like extremely catchy.
I think Money Trees is probably the best example. A dollar might just fuck your main bitch. That's just how I feel.
Yep. Yeah. Money Trees is definitely the one I like. The other ones I like because he just makes tiny little like double entendres every once in a while. Or I don't think I've ever noticed a triple, but maybe he has. But like,
he's got a lot of them.
Yeah, and I like seeing when he makes those like tiny little things that like if people are just listening to a song and I'm like, this is dope. But then I like the ones when you're like, I know that, that's cool, I get it, like I get what you just did there, and it's like one of those you're putting forethought into the potential of people not only just surface level listening to your shit, but also like
I mean, King Kunta.
Yeah.
Just the whole significance of Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
You know, that song being super uplifting. All right.
Yeah.
You know, like, 2020 pandemic, George Floyd riots. I mean, Kendrick Lamar's "All Right" was essentially the anthem of BLM at the time.
I think he's done a lot for the black community, and I think I think that's why like the weight that he carried whenever he was calling Drake out was
rough.
was heavy weight to be messing with, because of the fact that like Drake was going up against in this matter, theoretical matter of going up against somebody who has like actual like substance in the black community that maybe another rapper doesn't always have or might not always get, just because they haven't because I would argue that Kendrick has stayed pretty true to making music like this. Mm-hmm. Every album of his has culturally significant music. He has music that talks about being a black man very specifically, very vulnerable, very things like fuck. Like
his last, I mean, people didn't really like Morale and the Big Steppers, but I thought it was incredibly significant. Like, he talked about his trauma.
Yeah.
He talked about his bad habits. He talked about his cheating.
Yeah.
It was rough. Stuff.
And I think stuff like that, like when you think about it in the black community, I think then this is coming from a Hispanic who I'm assuming people understand that here in America that Hispanics and black people have very parallel
to some degree,
experiences in a lot of aspects, especially when you're in poverty. So I think specifically when we're in the poverty stages of our lives, which we were one of those people who
we get a lot of the same. We fight a lot of the same demons.
We fight a lot of the
systemic demons for sure.
Systemic stuff. I know there's a lot of things that like we just happen to relate on with like the whole food stamp shit, the whole WIC, the whole like. All those things, and of course, anybody who's in an underprivileged community is gonna have that. But
we get villainized just as much.
We get
like it's a political year right now, so I mean,
they catch you running and they gonna shoot your ass. They don't matter what it is.
In general, like it's an election year.
Yeah.
So Hispanics are about to get villainized for the next 4 to 5 months.
And they're also about to get
mind you, like even self-hating Hispanics will start villainizing us too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
they do.
And
that's what happens in the black community.
And in the black community, there's a constant villainization.
Yeah.
There's a constant narrative about the danger of a black man or the danger of a black woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
I've talked about that before, but where when you mentioned right now the danger of a black woman, and even because they get the black community gets it so much worse than we do. No matter how people want to put it.
Yeah.
And I don't care if any Hispanic has something to say about that. Like, you should have nothing to say about whether or not we have it worse or not, because just putting it in the most simple manners.
We weren't enslaved.
Black, not just that part, but like even taking away the cultural context from the past and just thinking about right now.
Like now.
Yeah, the now. Black women get villainized for the things that Hispanic women get sexualized for, which neither one of them is good. Like villainization and sexualization are not good, but sexualization also, whether people like to admit it or not, does come with some benefits because they allow you to get away with certain things.
That was one of the critiques that we had for one of our most viral posts. Remember, I wrote, we had that really joking post, which was really funny, of like me saying that's why white guys and black guys like Hispanic women.
Yeah.
Like the whole like cry for me right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of the critiques, there wasn't a lot of critiques, but every now and then there was black women that would go in there and critique and be like, why do Hispanic women get praised for for what black when black women act like
and
that.
let me
they
tell
say
y'all.
like, oh, you doing too much, or you extra, or you know what I mean.
Let me
You're
tell
too
y'all right
loud
now.
or whatever. Blah blah blah.
Let me tell y'all right now. If y'all would watch the podcast, y'all have heard me say exactly what I just said right now, which is something that we don't agree with. I've specifically, as a Hispanic woman who gets sexualized all the time, I have very specifically mentioned how it is very unfair. It is not conducive to a good, working relationship between the black community and the Hispanic community, because you end up pinning each other like against each other in the sense it's like, oh,
we're really not enemies.
Yeah, some black men be like, well, it's because the Latinas do it like this, and it's just like, yeah, but it's the same thing in a different font, and that's just all that's happening. Like, it's the same situation, except all of a sudden it's sexy and spicy when a Latina, it's exotic when a Latina does it, and it's crazy and batshit whenever a black woman does it, and it's just like
it's the double standard.
It's the double standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I don't know. To go back to your question, I think Kendrick Lamar is very important. Definitely won that battle. Excuse me. But we'll see. I'm excited for his new shit. That was really exciting. But we'll see what happens.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see them because I think watching watching music affect culture the way it does is such an interesting thing to see. Me, as somebody who likes to study cultures, or has dabbled in.
I have always said, and I will always say that art is the most underappreciated, but it's just simultaneously. It's the most hated on, the most underappreciated, the most undervalued, but the most over consumed.
Yes.
Because art will always tell you how a culture's doing, and how subcultures are doing, how the zeitgeist is happening. Because art doesn't really care about boundaries. It doesn't really care about politics. It doesn't really care about money. Of course, you can make the argument that like, when it comes to music and when it comes to these like labels and things like that, like they're going to be pushing for certain artists and mainstream and blah, 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 blah. But in general, like every now and then you get a cultural moment that is of high relevance that you can't just ignore it for what it is. You know what I mean? Because there's subtext happening there. But then that's always been the case. Like a lot of right wingers right now, a lot of people in the right wing of the culture or in general, right? We've become heavily politicized. They have become more and more scrutinous. They have more scrutiny for art.
Yeah.
Because they're the first to say like, oh, well, art is woke, and they've gone woke, and they have to do this DEI stuff, and they have to make everything gay, and they have to make, you know what I mean? But the only reason that kind of gets said in those spheres is because of the fact that art penetrates so deeply into the mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And regardless of the fact that like it's kind of nonsense when they say stuff like that, because all it means is that they don't understand the business aspect of art, especially in movies and shit. Mm-hmm. But it's not art's job to give you what you want.
It's literally not.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not an artist's job. If you wanted to go make, I mean, like the Daily Wire has made movies that are like non-woke, that are like, and the movies suck. The movies suck ass. And it's not because the art or the direction or the director of photography doesn't know what he's doing or this and that. It's just because it's not a good story.
Yeah. The
story of you having to prove that you just didn't make a gay movie, or the story, or a story where you get to make fun of like what is a woman, or like what, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not a fun story. It's like it's boring. It's and as much as you get a lot of people that might watch it and they might go, yeah, fuck yeah, like it doesn't have replay value.
Well, and that's
you know what I mean? Because what people really like in art, and what people gravitate to in general, are stories. And sometimes it just so happens that a character is gay, but the story's good. Sometimes it just so happens that the character's gay or lesbian or whatever, and the story's not good, and then they make another one. Like, you know what I mean? But like,
And they have a lot of those.
Yeah, there's plenty of stories that are not good, that have that have black characters, that have white characters,
But
have, you know.
and that tells me though, what that tells me is if you're making such a big fuss about very specific things, is it just proves how good it is. That I mean anything good to me. An example of this is being like the right wing's agenda on, like, what are they doing?
Right now they're doing
they're banning books, for instance.
They ban books. Right now they're like heavily dead set on going against Kamala. That's that's their
Well,
MO.
I meant like the right wing at the moment is currently trying to, in terms of agendas that are like.
Right now it's Project 2025.
But that they're pushing away from art is what I'm saying. So like.
I mean they
books,
defund schools.
That's what I'm saying. So like
you know what I mean?
them for like banning certain books, specifically certain books that are like when you read the books, like for instance, them banning Fahrenheit 451
or To Kill a Mockingbird.
or To Kill a Mockingbird.
That's a rough one, bro.
If you're reading
rough one.
Both of those books, To Kill a Mockingbird is my second favorite book outside of Pride and Prejudice. But the book itself, because I read it when I was in like 8th grade or some shit like that, yeah. And I remember reading it and the way the doors opened for me, like the things that I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know that. Like this weird empathetic thing like awoke from
To
reading
Kill a Mockingbird
the book.
is Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
in the sense that like the writer is doing a phenomenal job of giving you history through the lens of the innocent.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's what the book is. And that's what
and-
Forrest Gump is. It's
and
like taking in all these historical.
It's like
Right,
the boy with
through the lens
it's like
of
the
somebody
boy with the
that's
striped
pure-hearted.
pajamas, the way where like
Yeah.
because people watch that and were like, no fucking way that just happened, and that's like very similar feeling that you get whenever you're reading To Kill a Mockingbird and you're like, but this is a child watching this, like, or like why is this happening to
Scout
this child?
is forever goaded.
Yes, and so like
And Atticus.
Atticus is
Atticus is forever goaded.
Atticus is forever goaded. And to me, though, you think about it and you think about the fact that all these people are against kids reading this book tells me just how much they understand the significance of kids learning this empathization from the eyes of a child.
Yeah.
Because when I was a child reading this, I was like, oh my God.
It made an impact on you.
It made a huge impact on me. And I think it made a huge impact on a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%.
And
I don't know if it had that much of a gravity on me, but I understood the book.
yeah, but
I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is
even
wild.
just
This is
understanding
very
the book
effective.
allows you to put yourself in the situation, whether or not you're somebody who's extremely empathetic or not, to put yourself in a situation where you were like that. I relate to some of these things. I relate to certain feelings that Scout might have been having, and I don't understand certain things that I've seen. And you start to put them in perspective of like, oh my God, did I really just see that? Like, oh my God, did I really go through something not like that, but something to my own extent of having this big gravity on me as a child and being like, I'm a human. Like all of a sudden, all these crazy things are happening, which kind of going back to this comment you said about, the right, you said at the very beginning how the right is very much kind of like against the idea of art. Yeah,
I just don't think they understand it.
They're like their biggest critics in terms of that.
Yeah, I mean, they're like really loud about critiquing art, but they don't understand art.
And I think that's part
You
of
know
it.
what I mean?
So like the not understanding part, and this doesn't have to do with the right, but it has to do with not understanding art. My man's is not somebody who's ever been big into art. Mm-hmm. And he's not right by any means, but he is definitely somebody who's never really been exposed to art. So he had some kind of like absent-minded critiques about art. And I was like, I asked him one time, I was like, why are you saying that about the Met? Right? And he goes, oh, it's just about these rich people, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, but do you know what the Met is? Like, do you know what like the Met actually is? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you know what the Met Gala is, but do you know what the Met is? And do you know why they make the Met Gala? Like what the whole purpose of it is? He was like, I don't know. And I was just like, all right, well, let me let you know. And I just kind of told him about it. And he was like, well, I didn't know a lot about this. I don't know a lot about like art and not in literature, music, even just like actual art, like paintings and whatever, sculptures, all that stuff. He's like, I don't know anything about art history. He goes, but I could say, like, after a while of us, you know, having conversations in and out of this, he's like, well, I guess there's just some things that I don't understand, but now I understand that because I don't understand it, there's really no place for me to, like, judge on
critique
them
it
because I don't understand what's going on. And so, on that note, if you don't know what the fuck this is, if you don't know what the fuck you're looking at or talking about, then shut up. No digas nada.
No digas nada. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Mind your business,
if you don't know what you're talking about, then shut up.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. But I think in terms of art, you see, the thing that really, like, aggravates me about people that critique art is that on one hand, like, it'll be a lot of, like, right wingers online that are critiquing art, but they're like using cameras, they're using they have like studio equipment, they're like all of the tools that they use could presumably be used to tell a story, to tell a beautiful story that they wanted to tell, and instead they bash art forms.
Yeah.
And I
Like
think like the ultimate
product.
irony is, like, people that, like, make these cameras, people that make these microphones,
They're
people
artists.
that make the, like, they're not people that are making this with the intention of, like, driving a political agenda. They're people that make this because they're like, somewhere along the lines, there's going to be a person that's going to be able to use this as a tool to be able to, like, really, really, really command some sort of attention, but that's not just for talking. It'll be a, like, transcendent art, like, very, like, high caliber artistic way of being able to, like, really, really captivate people. And without me making this, without this existing, that we might be absent that person. We might be like, we might, like, the life will continue without, like, all of this. That's why people make guitars. That's why people make, you know, that's why musicians exist despite, like, the low pay or the 95% unemployment rate. That's why, like, there's just so much stuff that, this goes back to the point I made about it being, like, so critiqued and undervalued, because it's simultaneously overvalued and undervalued, because you'll critique it so much. Oh my God, Disney went woke. Oh my God, this is blah blah blah. Oh my God, this is, like, all this ridiculous, like, very, like, audience capture.
Yeah.
You're just saying that because your audience wants to see it's a political year and you wanna win the election. Like, it's just nothing of substance. You look at that and you say something, and then you say, well, what do you want? Let's just, like, strip it all down. What do you want? You want Trump to win? Oh, what do you want? What do you want Trump to do? Well, you want Trump to lower your taxes. Okay, why do you want Trump to lower your taxes? Well, because I want more money. What do you want more money for? So I can go enjoy art. What? So that you can go have a picnic with and then see the sunset and be like, look how beautiful. And then you'll say some dumb shit like, look what God painted. Like, no, like,
Funny.
Humans could have painted this.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? Humans recognize the beauty that you're looking at, and then they transfer that energy and they make something beautiful out of it. And then you go in and enjoy it. And yes, are there super rich, snooty, pretentious people that go to the MoMA and then try to buy, or that have, like, are there these super, super, super rich people that try to, like, hide their money in assets, or park their money in assets like art or watches, or you know, they have a Picasso in their house just so that like one day they can sell it and it's not taxed gains. Like, sure, people are playing the capitalism game.
Yes, 100%. But so are you. Like,
Yeah.
so is the average Joe.
Everybody's part of the system.
Everybody's
so, like,
playing
yes,
it.
people are playing the capitalism game, but it doesn't change the fact that some of the things are very important things in history, right? Like, when you hear Beethoven, you understand that at some point this was the shit. You know? At some point, Beethoven was pop music of the time. And it was so good that it's transcended time. You know what I mean? So you hear Beethoven, you hear a symphony, you hear, you know, an orchestra play this music that has transcended, that's very effective. And then you say to yourself, oh, okay. Like, I understand that this is beautiful. On my spare time, I want to enjoy things like this. The reason why a lot of people are heavily invested into politics, if it's not something that directly impacts their life, like women with their reproductive rights, or you know, LGBTQ people with their fundamental rights to existence, and war, or like, you know what I mean? If it's not something that's, like, very audience capture, you know, high high frequency, very loud, like,
Yeah.
you know, things. A lot of people are just trying to get through their life so that they can literally enjoy art, so that they could take their family to Disney, so that they could go to the beach and take a photograph and have memories of their, and have watch movies. Like, a lot of the people, a lot of the core memories that people have are all surrounded by and or could directly contributed to like the potency of that moment because of art.
Yeah.
And me as an artist, I understand that. I actually had somebody tell me just 2 days ago, actually, they were like, whenever I think about you and I think about your personality and how good you are at like X, Y, and Z, like, I always think that you would make a great politician. And that's what they tell me. And I've, it's not the first time that people have told me that. And I have, in the past, I have reacted to that with a little bit more like like a lot more like
hesitancy.
Like just I push back on it a lot. Like, oh my God, I don't want to be like, that's so horrible. I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a politician. But I choose to kind of look at it in a good way. But like, a lot of the reason why I don't see myself as that is because I just don't think that's my function.
Yeah.
Whether I'm good at it or not, whether I end up being remembered by it or not, like, my function as a human being is much more fulfilling if I fill a lot of my time with trying to produce art. Yeah. And because I try to produce art and I critique it and I think about it a lot, I can look at modern art, contemporary art, old art, Baroque music styles, but you know, anything that has some sort of art in it.
Yeah.
I can look at it and I can contextualize it. I can put some historical significance to it. I can understand craftsmanship. I can understand hours and technique. I'm well versed in that in that world enough that I can sit there and then I'm also like meta, like 30,000 foot view. I'm like, why do artists do that? Is so that people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Art does a really good job of describing the human condition.
Yes, it
without
does.
having to tell you, hey, this is the human condition, right? It's the same way why like some people that work like really, really high caliber at what they do, comedians, musicians, like when you are watching an expert do what they do, what you feel it inside you. You know what I mean?
I mean, even we were talking about this earlier about the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
And that's a form of artistry to hone in on a skill set that 0.001% of the people who even do it manage to get to that level.
Sorry.
They manage to get to that level. It is incredibly inspiring, and there's a lot of people who I'm seeing a lot of posts about people talking about you know, if you're like the parents letting their kids watch the Olympics or having their little daughters watch the Olympics or whatever, especially I see a lot about women, and
yeah, they're killing it right now.
And people talk about like, oh, like why, like they'll say like POV or like, why are you letting your kid watch this or whatever, and it's just because they're like, yeah, because my kid hopefully will one day look at these women and say, wow, like
I can do that.
I could do that. Like I could do just that. I could be the next Simone Biles. I could be the next person to reach these different goals, and I can transcend these limits that have been put to me. And that's what art is.
Correct.
That's entirely what art is. Art is all about, but then artists don't go into their artistry trying to do that though. Like there is something that is
a lot of times it's just like
a lot of times a lot of it is just they want you to hear a message that resonates so heavily with them, and a message that is so fundamental and visceral for the human experience that everybody, no matter what walk of life you come from, you're like, this makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. You know, you're watching these things, you go to the art museums and you're like, so people back in fucking Rome back in the days used to feel this way too? That's fucking wild.
That's crazy.
They had dogs too? That's wild.
Humans,
yeah, we're all human. Like this human experience, it's so humbling because sometimes your world feels so big and small. Big because it's just you. It's just your world. You know, no matter what, it's just your world and everything that's happening inside your head. Mm-hmm. And then small because you're like, I'm so fucking minuscule, like it doesn't matter. But then you tie the human line back together and you realize that from the start of time, even in its most basic human nature form, when you see animals do the things that we do, and you're like, that shit's wild. Like that, like, and then you see throughout time people making art about it.
Yeah.
So like the earliest art forms are like caveman paintings, correct?
Yeah.
Like
Arguably,
and I remember
there's some pottery and stuff that you
there's
could
pottery,
technically consider.
Yeah, but back in
But
the
it's probably
day,
tools.
I think it
They're
was
probably not
tools.
looking at it like the function of those things are probably looked at as more like tools. It's
than
more
artistry.
utility.
Yeah,
than-
so
than-
like
than, for
but
showcasing.
it does. You know, somebody I was very heavily influenced by art history classes in
College?
In college, and because I studied anthropology, I studied a lot about cultures and especially the beginning of art of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a lot about art, and we talked a lot about how like literally they're the most.
Technically, this is, I'm gonna get real nerdy. Technically, the very first art form that has ever happened was dancing.
Yes.
Technically.
Yes. And in fact,
Technically.
the tangible
Because
art.
we all move.
Yes.
Right, like we all move and we all show excitement
The
with movement.
yes.
We all show
Yes,
like
that is true.
sadness and happiness with movement. So I mean, like in
And-
the
and-
earliest of days of civilization, one can conclude that if there was some sort of village somewhere, that if there was a moment of extreme elation for the village, there was probably a lot of movement and a
not
lot of
just
like
that.
communication through movement.
And on
then endorphins.
on a slightly relative note is there had to be stuff like that because there was rituals before
Correct.
before even
Fucking witches and shit.
No, that's not where I was heading.
Pagan rituals.
I was no
sacrifices.
I was talking about
We are Aztecs after all.
no, but like I was talking
on the same page?
No, we're not on the same
Got it.
page. But you know,
We're
I
talking
can
about
fuck with what
other
you're saying.
things.
Yes, we are.
We're
Either
talking
way,
about other things.
I
Got it.
think overall the connection that we build through art throughout time has been so crazy, like so much so that it's expand all the way through, obviously till now, and then specifically in our generation, art with social media becoming or being what it is, it's they've expanded forms of art because video and the type of expression that you have. And I was filming earlier for the look that I have right now, and something that I as an artist, I don't really consider myself an artist, but I'm sure to some degree somebody might consider me an artist.
I would say so.
Yeah. I to me it's hard to do that, but either way, that's a different conversation. But I was telling myself that now that I'm going to be posting things on YouTube again, or posting recreations of makeup looks or different creativity outlets that I want to have, I want it to solely be about creativity outlet. Because I realized, and something that happened is because I grew up in the 2016 YouTube era, which is a super common thing for people to talk about nowadays, because they remember how it used to be and how weird like influencers became from that point on.
Yeah.
And so I remember seeing it and being like, I don't want to be that though. Like I want to be somebody who posts their creativity and has an outlet for all of their creative endeavors. But I don't want to be an influencer. Like I don't want somebody to look at me and think that I'm influencing their life in some way outside of just being somebody who likes art and creates things and uses the little bit of knowledge I have about art to influence my life. Not your life, but my life with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a video I just posted on my YouTube, I very specifically said on there, I was like, I'm not going to be talking that much on my page, because I want it to be about what I'm doing versus what my thought processes are about certain things. I want it to be about the technicality of the creative endeavor that I'm taking on. So like if it's about makeup, like let's talk about the technicality of makeup. Yeah. Let's talk about why this works for you, why this doesn't work for you, things like that. But I don't necessarily want to sit there and talk about political views. I don't want to sit there and talk about the environment that we're in social media.
That's why we started posting the monologues.
Yes.
Because we wanted to kind of like branch out into that kind of world too, which by the way is so much harder than just setting this up and talking.
Oh,
it's
dude,
so much fucking harder.
Even just to do.
I mean, I prefer it, but like, it's so fucking hard.
In terms of creativity, it was rewarding.
I got music coming out too, though. So
yeah. Your album?
Yeah, well, an EP.
I'm
It's gonna be
excited.
fun.
I'm excited because I like a lot of the songs that you haven't come out with. There's a lot. There's a lot to be said about those little snippets that we make, those little shorts that are made. They're funner to make because of the fact that you are very much like creativity is you got everything at your disposal in that aspect. But there's so much more work and taxing because you have to tap into that creativity, but then you also have to tap into the marketing side of it all and like marketing yourself and marketing your creativity. That's hard. Like, it's
really difficult.
And to me, it's crazy to think about how we get instant gratification for our creativity endeavors. Georgia O'Keeffe didn't get that. Pablo Picasso didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like these things, like these people, like it's crazy to me to think about how like artists back in the day, just their entire careers.
Yeah.
Some of them after they died didn't get recognized.
Have you seen the movie A Night in Paris?
Is that about
It's the movie with Owen Wilson.
Which
I can't see Owen Wilson and not think of Shanghai Noon, but like but like he's just a regular dude. So I'm just like
I can't see Owen Wilson and not think about cars. So it's I can't not hear him and be like I could just be like little red car.
But yeah, he essentially like he's having the story is a cute story. The story is like he and his wife are going through problems. They probably should get divorced, and they're in Paris, and she's, you know, I think they do a good job of making her not seem naggy. Like, it's not like she's being naggy, but like he wants to explore the city. He wants to see the cultural significance of the city, and she just wants to do other shit. But so like he goes out at night one day, and he realizes that every time he goes out at night, if he gets picked up by this specific taxi, that he goes back in time. And then like so he ends up in Paris at these bars that all these writers and painters and like all would hang out at.
I've heard.
And he meets them. He meets them in real time. Like he actually has conversations with them. He travels back in time because Paris has always been the mecca of art at that point up until New York happened, right? But like, so he goes back in time and he spends all night and he meets like Salvador Dali. He meets like. Hemingway. He meets all these people that were in Paris around the same time, and like he asks them questions, and like he's like picking their brain. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe this is real. He thinks it's a dream at first. He goes back to his place. He wakes up. He goes to like the museum where like all of the places are, and like the curators like talking about the art, and he's like, I don't think that's like, and he'll like give input, so he like knows that he was actually talking to them because there's no way he would have known that information otherwise. Yeah. And then he keeps doing it. He spends like a week, and then he falls in love with somebody from the past, and like you know, and so it's a cute story, but it goes back to the point you're making about like we get instant gratification because of social media, but there was a point in time, just to speak to the potency that. And the deep love that artists have for their craft. Artists that are really serious about what they do are not, they might care about instant gratification, but they have a deeper impulse.
Yes.
They have like a deeper.
Yes, it's about the art.
Yeah. They have a deeper thing that they're trying to get at. You know what I mean?
Yes. Because like if you think of people like Frida Kahlo, Dali, all of these like people,
even writers, Neruda,
like all of these
that man's
people,
word, bro.
They even Coelho, like all these different artists like that are authors, you know, actual like painters and sculpturists and all these people who created art. They did it for the sole reason of letting their beautiful brains create beautiful art, and never I mean, I don't doubt that there have been people who did it for the fame and the glory, but
sure,
because it's such a one-off thing. Being an artist does not get you fame and glory.
Nah, bro. It's a 96% unemployment rate.
Exactly. Like you have to be. There's a reason why they call it the starving artist in LA, where the people are like getting only slightly little gigs here and there. Yeah. Like it's not
Yeah.
It's not
Even
like this like lucrative thing
even the
that
actors,
you can get into
like
right
even the
away.
actors that have gotten good jobs before, like they still struggle to get new jobs.
Just because you got a good movie and got a good thing, like doesn't mean that you're gonna get. You have to become a household name for that, and it's be really hard to do that. And
Yeah.
the only time that you get to enjoy your household name is when you're freaking old. So
Yeah.
like, there's very few people who get to enjoy their household name status being young.
Very few.
Very few. Now, in our generation, is there a couple of them? Yeah, probably. But I would argue that it's hard for them because like, even for people like, for instance, like Daniel Radcliffe, he was a household name for a while because of Harry Potter. But the minute he stopped doing Harry Potter, you could not get that man to work in another. Not that he wasn't working, he was working, but it didn't work for him. Like,
Bro, the work he's doing now though is so much better.
But and I was about to say but that was back like right after Harry Potter, and then now he's doing plays.
Have you seen the movie
and
that he was in?
He's doing really well.
Yeah, have you seen the movie that he was in where he's the writer? He's the gay writer.
No.
I forgot.
It was like a Sundance.
No, I think it might have been at Sundance, but it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. I'll send it to you. But it's like a deep, like really nerdy,
That's
very
nice.
like if you know, writers kind of shit. Are you ready for the this fucking election cycle?
I was actually about to tie that back into the artistry thing that we were talking about with Kendrick Lamar. Did y'all know that Kamala Harris was bringing up like our friendly neighborhood thottie? And
oh yeah, I saw Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, and that she
people were in an uproar because she was twerking
walked
on stage.
out. She walked out to "They Not Like Us."
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know
I
this
thought she
either.
would put it on her song.
No,
I just saw that they were twerking and it was like a whole bunch of like Twitter was in a fucking shambles.
Why?
Because they were like, oh my god, you're twerking at a presidential election, like whatever.
They've had worse, dog.
They were in a lot of, I mean, Donald Trump talked about some crazy shit, but like yeah, whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, no, but my thing was like, first of all, I didn't know that. I didn't know Kamala Harris did that. But my coworker was telling me about it, and he was all like, yeah, I think she's.
But Donald Trump walked out to many men. Because they tried to shoot this dude. Why are we just going wild? That part is crazy. Where were you whenever you heard that? I was getting back home. I was traveling and I was getting back to Austin, and I was like I was like driving, and then I checked on Twitter and I was like, shot, Donald Trump shot, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my fucking God, no, they didn't. The last thing we need is Donald Trump as a martyr. That's the last thing that we need.
The last thing we need. We don't need him
last thing that we need, bro.
Martyr.
So I was like, oh my God, please please do not let this man be shot. Not because I'm a Trumper, but because like, bro, you know what I mean?
You give martyr to people like that.
Yeah, my second thought was, damn, like, which leftist, like, if it was a leftist, like, why did you promote the stereotype that we're not good with guns?
And not just that.
That was my second thought. And then my third thought was like, please don't let him be Hispanic. Please don't let him be Hispanic.
It's so funny that it wasn't Hispanic, that they were.
It was a white boy.
It was a white boy. And he was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Republican.
a very far right Republican.
Yeah.
Like a super far right.
Used to
And
support Trump.
so that's what, because I was talking to my man's about it, and he was just like, so what happened? Because he didn't.
But like all those things are the kind of things that all the conspiracy brain right wingers are like, there's no way. This was This guy was planted. This guy was working with the CIA. I'm like, bro.
This man just didn't want this man.
They said was the shooter was a Chinese.
The first thing they said the shooter was a Chinese what? The spy?
Spy or something like that.
Bro, that's
Who
crazy,
said
bro.
this? Why are people saying this?
People are
stupid
crazy.
shit?
Elon Musk's Twitter is pretty much Truth Social.
The news, like, you know how there's news for like left, right.
Yeah.
The stuff, the ones on the right were like, this was planned by a Chinese.
Bro, they're crazy,
Chinaman.
bro.
Like, all this stuff.
That's crazy.
And then like later on, they're like, we have confirmed that it was not a Chinese. White man.
Yeah, they were real quiet about that. Here's the thing I'm surprised with. Here's the thing that's really surprising about the era that we're living in terms of politics. It has been less than a month since the assassination attempt happened, and we are not talking about that shit. I mean, we are.
Yeah.
but like society at large. We forgot about that shit real quick.
Because they don't give a fuck about his ass.
Bruh.
They don't give a fuck about his ass.
So once you see him like in person, dude, that was hilarious.
That shit was fucking stupid, dog.
Funny, bro.
He really took
He's
you
a
could
clown.
tell he was like, yo, PR wise, like, let me put my fist up. I don't like that they reappropriated the fist, bro. Because he really went out there and was like, he really was like going for it, and like on a PR level, like whoever his publicist is, if he has one, was like, fuck yeah, we won, we won today, right? But bro, like you can't just take away the Black Power like symbol, bro. Like what? Like you can't just talk about cultural appropriation. That's the cultural appropriation, my dude.
Did y'all see? Okay, I don't know if y'all know this, but the Mexican OT is a Trumpy.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
I know.
It doesn't surprise me with when anybody that has
Hispanic.
money,
Well.
that has a lot of money wants to keep their money. That it doesn't surprise me, and it also doesn't surprise me when people that don't know about politics or that don't know about
How
taxes work or the government works or anything like that, like any kind of bureaucratic system, like when people don't understand those things and you make like certain comments, like I'm not looking for that Mexican OT for political commentary.
Well, yeah.
I'm looking for, if I look at the Mexican, that Mexican OT, it's just gonna be for some music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not looking. What's that Dave Chappelle skit that he has? Whenever they were talking about the Twin Towers and they were like, "Let's talk to Ja Rule." See what and Dave Chappelle was like, "Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule has to say about this?" Right? Like. I'm not sitting at home like, oh my God, there's a tragedy. Where's Ja? Like, I'm not looking at that Mexican OT thinking like I need him for my political commentary. Like, bro, like again. So this goes to the point that I was making before, right? Or sorry, this goes to a point that I wanted to make about idolizing people, right? You can have people that you look up to. Not a problem.
Yeah.
You can have people that you're like, bro, I really like this person. I like this person's perspective. I feel like this person speaks for me and my identity and my perspective and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Perfectly fine. Do that all day. All day, right? However, you need to understand, this goes back to the Kanye thing too, because people do this shit with Kanye, right? You need to understand that just because a person is good at rapping or just because a person is good at basketball or just because a person is good at managing a Starbucks or just because the person's a CEO, just because the person was good on what's that apprentice show that Trump was on, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Like if you're a celebrity, just because a person's a good actor, it doesn't mean that they're qualified to talk about anything. Now, that's not to say that they can't use their platform to speak about whatever they want. 100%. But you, as a regular member of the proletariat, as a regular member of our citizen.
Yeah.
Our regular people out here, you have to understand, right? Or you have to try to understand that there are politicians, there are musicians, and there is no in between.
There's no in between.
You know what I mean?
There's
so
no
you
in
shouldn't be going for one for the other. You shouldn't be going to this or for the other. That they want to mix. That Kamala wants to bring out Megan Thee Stallion or go out tonight like us. Cool. They're trying to be cultural. They're trying to like
they're trying to grab
some votes or whatever.
Yeah.
But always, I'm gonna tell you this as a general rule of thumb. Fuck the performative shit. Fuck what song they come out to. Fuck what artist is on stage. Forget who. What artist says on their Instagram that they're voting for what. Forget what they wear. Forget Amber Rose with the MAGA hat. Forget that Mexican OT with whatever he's saying. Forget all of that. Go on the website and look at the policies.
Yeah.
What are these politicians running on? And stop looking at celebrities stop looking at celebrities and what they say for you to make your move.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you may listen to that Mexican OT and put a little bit of money in his pocket, but he is not doing jack shit to put money in your pocket.
Exactly.
So you need to make sure you vote for people that are going to do their very best to try to protect the things that you find valuable in your life. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that may mean that despite you liking that Mexican OT, that you may not vote for who that Mexican OT wants you to vote for.
Yeah.
Or who he's going to vote for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, does it surprise me? Not really. Does it disappoint me? Not really, because as much as I mean, I like what's that one? The original song that he has.
Sepa la madre. I don't even know his thing.
The Johnny Dang.
Yeah.
I like that song, Johnny Dang, and I think he's a good talent. But like, I'm not. He's also not like the next savior of rap. You know what I mean?
In the great.
He's also not from Houston. I mean, as much as he's from, as much as he has the slang, and as much as he's riding dirty and blah 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 blah. Like, cool dog, but like. You have to understand, you're taking a lot of like you're using a lot of the culture that raised you, and that is doing all that stuff. But it works the same with Mattress Mac. Like at least Mattress Mac at least lives in the community and maybe helps out a little bit of what the community does, or gives jobs out or something like that. But like,
well, yeah, he's been the most consistent. Well, like in the great words of our fellow artist, not fellow artist, but. Nice artist, Jay-Z with Chewy, don't make me shit. So at the end of the day, whatever the fuck they consuming or whatever the fuck they're telling you,
man.
At the end of the day, it don't make you shit. So at the end of the day, it's not them.
These musicians and these actors, these musicians, these actors, these celebrities, these basketball players, these ball players, all of these people, all of them, they got money.
Yeah.
And they operate very differently than the way we operate when we have money, right? The best thing that you can hope for is that people that have money tell people that don't have money how it is to maneuver themselves so that people that don't have money could have a more of a fighting chance. That's the best thing you can hope for, but it's just a hope. Don't expect it. So whenever a celebrity tells you, I'm voting for this person, I'm endorsing this person, who gives a shit? Go and find the policy. Go on the line. Go to Donald Trump's website. Go to Kamala Harris's website. Go dig deep into what it is that they want to do and what it is that they're trying to do. And not even words and lip service. Kamala is a seasoned politician.
Yes.
Go look at what she voted for.
Yes.
Go look at the stuff that she actually said yes to. Because a lot of even the narrative of like her like locking up a whole bunch of black people in California, a lot of it is like dead wrong. You know what I mean? A lot of it's there but nobody wants to go look it up.
Yeah.
Nobody. So
and
like,
that's the part of me.
Fuck what Megan Thee Stallion has to say. Fuck what that Mexican OT has to say. Screw those people. You have already had 4 years of Trump. Of policies that either did or did not affect you.
Yeah.
Right? Trump put together a tax plan where in 2022, our taxes were going to go up. That was a law that he passed in like 2019 or like right before he left office, knowing that the taxes would rise during Biden's presidency.
Yeah.
And then he can blame the raise on taxes on Biden.
Of course.
Right? Like, but you have to dig deep. All it takes is a little bit of research. I know I know that people are working out there. I know that people have 9 to 5s. I know that people are tired. I know that. But this is, for lack of a better, without fear of sounding hyperbolic, this is the future. This is your future. Whether you believe that democracy is at stake or not, whether you believe that your reproductive rights are at stake or not, whether you believe whatever it is that you believe, even if you believe it's just a bland, normal, cookie cutter, vanilla ass election, it's still the future. It's still the things that could affect you.
That to me is the most important thing that I like to stress, because I know a lot of people in my life that are very, very big on like, what's the point of voting? At the end of the day, it's just going to end up being this and this and this. And I'm like, well, that's the thing. So many people nowadays have gotten to the point where they just are so disillusioned and don't care that they don't actually pay attention to the way that voting is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Voting is you are allowed to vote for the people that have the ideas that you want at hand. And I say that coming because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, all of us have been disillusioned by our government multiple times already. Like, I have been able to vote twice, and every time I'm like, y'all really gonna vote? We have to vote for these people?
Yeah.
Like, this shit sucks.
It sucks.
It just sucks mad
sucks.
booty cheeks. And
But it's also a misconception as to what people think that the presidential election is for. The president has a very, 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 very small chance of it at affecting your everyday life. That's not to say that they can't, but it's a very small chance. Your local elections matter more.
and
Your school board
something
matters
that,
more.
I was telling
right?
I was telling some people who are kind of being very big advocates for I'm not gonna vote for that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you don't even really have to be voting. I mean, don't get me wrong, you should vote for the president or the next the run-ups that come up or whatever that are about to happen. But what you really need to start focusing on is who the fuck is going up against your next mayor? Who's going to be the person that's going to be leading the HISD school district?
Yeah, your school board is very important.
I need to know who is going to be the
Your
next
sheriff?
I need to know who's going to be handling all of our human resources and all of everything.
Who's your house? Who's the rep?
Who's the
of
rep?
your House of Representatives? R.I.P. Sheila Jackson Lee, by the way.
Yeah. She just passed away.
Who's your rep? And that was our rep for pretty much all our lives.
Exactly.
But like, do you know who your rep is? Do you know who your House of Representatives is?
I've been keeping a closer eye on the reps and the senators than I have been on.
It's a better thing to like look for.
And all of our local election stuff too.
Yeah,
so
we need
like,
to get rid of Cruz, dog.
somebody
Somebody really need to get Teddy out of here, bro.
Get rid of Cruz.
Somebody really need to like fucking, bruh. Somebody
gotta get something else
really
out
gotta
here.
we
There's
really
this
gotta
one
get Teddy
guy,
Cruz out of here.
I can't remember his name, but he's a representative here in the state of Texas, and he is a liberal, a very religious liberal, which I really enjoyed.
Texas
seeing.
liberals are like one of a kind.
They're so cool. The reason
They're
I
different,
said
bro.
they're different.
They're
and
different.
I find it
They're not
cool.
California liberals at all.
I find it cool because it's like this guy is like very he's
You gotta find his name.
Yeah, he's basically preaching against constantly preaching against.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I sent it to you. I
Yeah.
sent you him about Christian nationalism. He don't like it.
Yeah.
And
that's a problem, bro.
It is a problem.
That's a problem.
And I particularly enjoy seeing people talk about Christian nationalism because it is a big problem. And that's not to say that you can't or shouldn't have the right to be religious, but
or proud of your religion.
or being proud of your religion. But at the end of the day, if it's affecting our laws, then that's not the point. So I enjoyed
Yeah, we need to get
learning
churches taxed out here, bro.
Dude.
We need to get churches taxed out here.
Hella tax, my
For
dog.
real. We need to get churches taxed all the way, bro. Like, what are we doing?
We really should. And I think at the end of the day, I enjoy seeing people who I feel like I've met a lot more middle ground people. That's why I've started to be like identify more in the middle ground than anything else, because I do agree that there are some conservative values that we should upkeep. I think that some conservative values are pretty legit. I think that they are things that we should kind of consider. Like, look, I'm from Texas. I like my guns. I want my guns.
I'm a liberal too. I like
I'm
my
a liberal.
guns.
We're liberals. Like, we're gonna sit here and say yes, you should go vote liberal if you so wish to do so, because you have the right to do whatever you want.
I mean,
So
we
do
started
I.
talking about how like don't tell me what to do on my land.
Don't tell me what to do on my land because we
Yeah.
from Texas. Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm
I like
from
my guns
Texas.
too, but I also don't think guns should be that easily available.
see that, and that's what
Like, I'm more than willing to take whatever test you
Oh,
need me
yeah.
to take. I'm more than willing to
And I
take
think-
whatever,
and
have
I've-
whatever
and I've
license you
seen
need me to,
more
whatever
res-
class that you need me to
I've
take.
seen more response. Like my man's has guns, and he really likes them, and he's very big on like, you should be having stricter laws on getting guns.
Constant education.
Like, you should have. He's like, I'd be willing to take any background check,
100%.
everything I need to do, because I know I'm not fucking crazy. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I can have my gun. I have no problem having my gun. But there
And
is-
read up on your laws
and
too.
read up on the laws.
Because that fucking. Did you see that? Oh my god, I can't believe we're about to end on this. How much time has been? Damn. Okay, we're about to end on this. But like, did you see that video of that tragic video of that
Of
of
the
that
girl?
of that woman losing her life to that fucking steroid as
Yes.
dude, cop? Did you see that video, dude?
It was so sad.
It's so tragic, dude.
It was
It's
so
so
sad.
tragic. I'm not saying that another gun would have helped in that instance, but I'm just saying, like,
No, it wouldn't have,
we need
but-
to have stricter stricter law. First of all, the cops have to be held to the highest of standards. But like as a society, we need to have the kind of standard and the kind of ideology that says, okay, if we're gonna be a nation that's gonna be like as pro-gun as we are, can we at least get everybody fucking educated on how to how to do this right?
And that's where this is where I severely dislike our government, because of how much they allow for the NRA to have such a big fucking hand in all of these goddamn politicians' pockets.
Yeah, fuck them.
And that's what pisses me off, is like all of these goddamn people like getting fed by the NRA basically.
And you know they do it not because they want you to have not because they truly believe that guns are the answer, but that's just because they want to sell more guns.
They want to sell more guns.
They want more money.
Exactly.
That's what they want.
It's purely about profiting.
It's just vampire capitalism.
It's vampire capitalism, absolutely. And I totally dislike it. But at the end of the day, what's crazy about that is, like, to me, it's never been, because I was thinking about this not that long ago, because I saw somebody have like a Blue Lives Matter thing, and in my head I'm like, well, if somebody were to come up to me and say, well, Blue Lives Matter, be like, well, why does the statement that a black person's life matter diminish your life mattering? Like, where did I water down your life mattering? I don't recall saying that. And I know there's a lot of people because they'll use it to oppose each other.
They specifically did it to oppose it.
They did it to oppose each other. But
my thing for that is, like,
it's a job,
bro. It's a job, bro. Like, I don't identify with my job that much.
I don't identify.
I like my jobs.
I don't identify with my job.
But I'm not gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not part of a union. If I was part of a union, like, maybe I'd identify more. But I'm not gonna like make my job a political statement, bro. Like, I like what I do. I'm good at what I do.
But like, the reality of it is like, if it's gotten down to a point where people don't trust you to protect them, then you're not doing your job. Mm-hmm. Because that
video was tragic.
And this is coming from
that video was, in my opinion,
it's sad. It's so sad.
In my opinion, that video was probably even worse than the George Floyd video.
Yes, it was, because all she did was stand there.
And she got so scared.
And she got terrified.
Oh my God, she got so scared.
The minute he started bucking up, and she was like, what the heck?
He said it. He said, I'm going to shoot you in your fucking face.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? The lady in the kitchen with the boiling hot water, and especially when you watch it from the beginning, when she said, "I'll let you in, just don't shoot me."
Yes,
bruh. Like, man, I can't. We gotta.
It's just.
We should have talked about this first, and then like got into it. But like, it's so infuriating, and the thing that makes it so infuriating even more is because. And this is where we kind of lose it on a racial standpoint. Like, we lose perspective, we lose other people's empathy, because other people that are from affluent neighborhoods can't relate to this at all. If you have ever grown up in a low income neighborhood, you know that that's how cops act.
Yes.
You know that that's what they do.
That's where I was gonna get at right now.
You know that at any point in time, should they get the willy-nilly desire to do it, they can just waltz in. Yeah. And say whatever they want. Yeah. They can threaten you and say whatever they want. They have done it.
Anybody from an underprivileged community or an underdeserved community, and I say community because sex workers get this a lot too with cops, and people don't think about that. People are not people like, I know people who have said they're like, they used to work at strip clubs and whatnot, saying, I used to be terrified of getting pulled over by a cop in the middle of the night because I know if they happened to see what I was wearing, what I was doing, where I came from,
pulled out from
or
the
that
club.
I pulled out, I know I run the risk of getting hurt. I run the risk of getting assaulted. I run the risk of them saying, "Oh, because da 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 da." And these people,
or that you made this money illegally,
exactly.
or that because you have like a wad of cash that they're gonna say like, "Oh, this could be contraband," or they could be some sort of illicit activity.
Bunch of crazy ass shit that you can see. That there's abuse that you can get from that. And so overall, like, and coming from Hispanic communities, dog, we don't call the cops when there's a problem.
No, we don't.
We don't call the cops. Why would I call the cops when there's a problem when I know that that's going to cause an even bigger problem? Mm-hmm. It just is. We don't do that. We would never do that. And
we also know they're going to take forever.
They never going to come.
Yeah, like if somebody stole my shit, I'm gonna call. Like, you're not gonna get here till I gotta go to work, dog.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna come before I have to go to work.
And the reality of it is that perpetuates this idea that you have nobody to rely on that you're supposed to be able to rely on in the community. The cops are supposed to be there to serve their community.
Yeah.
So now I'm just paying all these goddamn taxes to feed your old family.
Yeah.
And you ain't helping my family.
The craziest thing is quotas.
Oh.
That is wild to me, dude. How you gonna have how are you gonna have a quota for how many crimes you're supposed to find when ideally, if we really truly lived in a great society, there would be no crime.
There'd be no crimes.
What?
Well, and that
So how you gonna tell me that you're gonna get punished by not finding any crimes for the month?
And my other biggest thing,
when really it should be a flex. Like, bro, I didn't watch nobody commit no crimes.
Dead ass. And
they should be giving you a fucking star, a sticker.
My biggest issue is like even in other communities like Europe and other places around the world, cops are very distinguishable. They wear bright ass red, like bright ass yellow colors, orange
They're
colors.
Not hiding.
They're not hiding.
Not turning off their lights.
They're little cops.
I know
yes,
you do. I know what you be doing.
Exactly. They're big. They wear these. They have these little cars that are very very distinguishable, so you can go and ask them for help if they need to. That kind of idea of like the idea of doing that here in the United States is fucking bizarre for these people because of the fact that they do it intentionally to try and find things and or get away with things that they shouldn't be able to get away with just solely because they're and that also poses the question of like, well, then you're not there to protect me if I need you, if I can't find you. You're there to catch me and or do shit you're not supposed to do. And so how does that work? And the reason that's so crazy to see, because us coming from Mexico, for instance, we know the cops are crooked over there. Like it's a common known extreme fact.
It's more blatant.
It's super blatant over there, and you see like because over there
they'll just ask you like, you know what, I'll leave if you give me $100.
If you give me this much, you know what I mean? That is, and so especially if they see you come from the U.S.
Yeah, if you got U.S. plates.
You got U.S. plates. You got a U.S. accent. All of a sudden, it's hey, hello, it's my family eating good tacos tonight.
Tonight we're not going to the neighborhood restaurant. Tonight we're going out.
Yeah, exactly. And like something
we're going to McAllen.
Something that's crazy is I find it interesting that over there, like the cops you do see the more often aren't even the cops, it's the military men.
Yeah, you see them with the metralletas on top of the cars.
We had to be very we had to warn like our fellow American friends and family members in or friends that were going over there, like, hey, yo, don't be afraid if you, this don't mean what you think it might mean, but like, there's gonna be military men riding around, in big ass trucks with guns and shit,
big guns,
like, big ass guns, just Charlie daddling it all over the city because narcs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if you see it, don't put your taco down. Just
go on.
It's all good. You're not gonna see that in Texas, although.
I mean,
although Texans wish they could get up together and form a militia. Have you seen that?
Seceded from the fucking.
Nah, there's no way.
Like the way people they want it so bad.
Oh God,
they wanna do that to Texas.
There's absolutely no way. People are idiots. Have you seen that meme? We're gonna end on this, and then we might piss you guys off with this. But have you seen that meme of that says like, how come the people that are always talking about a civil war are the people that can't run a mile? And like, it's just a whole bunch of like quintessential like truckers, with like all their beer bellies and stuff. And he goes, "I'm talking to you, Meal Team 6."
Stop.
And he goes, "I'm talking to you, Meal Team 6. I'm talking to you, Gravy Seals." Like,
Gravy Seals.
Oh, bro!
I
was like, y'all are cooking tonight. Like, y'all are cooking, bro. The internet is undefeated.
Not wrong, though.
Yeah, Meal Team 6 had me dying. Just Meal Team 6, Happy Meal Team 6.
Happy Meal
bro,
Team
they had
6.
me dying. And then Brie really liked the Gravy Seals. That shit was good. Man, that shit was great. Anyways, on that note, we're about to peace out. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of the above. Please find us on all social medias. We are gonna be posting a whole bunch of stuff soon. We're gonna be branching out. We hope you like it. See you later. Deuces.